Since the beginning of the war between Russia and Ukraine, many soldiers and commanders have lost their lives. When we think of war, soldiers come to mind before ammunition and weapons. There are commanders who coordinate and motivate these soldiers at the front. Many important commanders lost their lives in the Russia-Ukraine war. A commander for the army does not grow up easily. They are trained for years and participate in many operations. Those commanders become an important asset for the country. Since the beginning of the war, we have seen the death of many Russian commanders. Recently, a Russian commander was killed by the Ukrainian army on the front line. We will provide you with information about the Russian commander who lost his life and how the incident was carried out. As Ozillo news team, we present you the reports we have created as a result of long research. So how did this operation take place? Let's take a look at the operation with details. The operation was carried out against a very important commander for Russia, Colonel Andrei Kondrashkin, commander of the Russian Army's Elite Air Assault Brigade. It was destroyed by the Ukrainian army. Colonel Andrei Kondrashkin had been commanding troops of the Russian army for a long time. Colonel Kondrashkin served on the fronts where the Ukrainian army was effective. He commanded Russian troops in the fierce fighting on these fronts. As the commander of the 31st Airborne Storm Brigade of elite Russian soldiers, Kondrashkin took part in the siege of Mariupol in the early days of Russian invasion of Ukraine. Colonel Kondrashkin served on the fronts where the fighting was intense throughout the war. He served for a long time on the Zaporizhia and Bakhmut front lines. The fronts where Kondrashkin was stationed were the fronts where Ukraine carried out very strong counter-offensive operations. Colonel Kondrashkin was a good commander. The soldiers at the front think so too. On some fronts there are not good relations between Russian soldiers and commanders. In fact, in our previous report, we told you that a Russian soldier killed his own commander in the barracks. While this is the situation in the Russian army, Russian soldiers had good things to say about Kondrashkin, stating that he coordinates operations very well and is a good leader. The colonel supported the defense of the Russian army during the recent conflict in the Andriivka region. The 72nd Brigade, which was present in the area, was almost exhausted by the attacks of the Ukrainian army. Coordination between the units was completely destroyed. With the confusion in the region, the troops were disappearing completely disconnected from each other. With the strong Ukrainian offensive in the region, the 72nd Brigade faced a very difficult situation in the Andriivka region. After the loss of the troops, the Russians had no military strength left to defend the area. However, the Russian troops were unable to regroup as the Ukrainian army's counterattacks continued unabated. For this reason, Ukraine's dominance in this region was also strengthening. Colonel Kondrashkin had an idea about this. The colonel took action to ensure that the surviving soldiers were not destroyed and taken hostage by the Ukrainian army and tried to gather the Russian troops in the area. Ukraine's counterattacks were in full force. We have already reported on Ukraine's superiority in the area in our previous reports. The coordinated counterattack operations of the Ukrainian army allowed it to fully secure the Andriivka area. In order to fully secure the area, Ukraine needed to fully establish its defensive positions after controlling the area. And for this, the Russian troops in the villages around the Andriivka area had to be cleared from those areas. Only in this way could the Andriivka region be completely under the control of the Ukrainian army. For this reason, the Ukrainian army continues to carry out operations in the areas around the Andriivka region. And while Colonel Kondrashkin continued to gather Russian soldiers at different points on the front line, the Ukrainian army advanced towards the areas where Kondrashkin and Russian troops were. Colonel Kondrashkin knew that the Ukrainian army was strong in this region and that Russian troops could not attack Ukraine. For this reason, he was conducting a secret operation in this area. He was aware that the Ukrainian army would destroy them if they were discovered. Kondrashkin was aiming to leave this region by gathering the soldiers in the region. However, the Ukrainian forces noticed Colonel Kondrashkin and the soldiers with him. The Ukrainian forces started to follow the colonel and his soldiers, but Kondrashkin did not know about it. The Ukrainian army quickly surrounded the area where Kondrashkin and his soldiers were located with a large number of soldiers. Blocking all exit routes, the Ukrainian army cornered the colonel and the soldiers. Ukrainian special forces suddenly went on the offensive. Although the Russians tried to respond to Ukraine's strong attack, Ukraine had completely surrounded the area, and the attack was very strong. It was not possible for a small number of Russian soldiers to respond to this attack. Russian soldiers and Kondrashkin were completely cornered in the area, and there was nothing to do now. Colonel Kondrashkin was killed in an operation carried out by the Ukrainian Special Forces. Russian sources did not want to give details about this. They did not provide any additional information other than confirming the death of Colonel Kondrashkin in the region. This is the information collected from local sources. Do you think Russia could have saved Colonel Kondrashkin and the soldiers with him in that area? There were other Russian troops close to the area. The Ukrainian army was very strong in that area, but do you think Russia had a chance to rescue Kondrashkin? Alexander Khodakovsky, commander of the Russian Vostok Battalion, said, "We became friends with Andrei while fighting hand in hand, and today we are deeply hurt by the news of his death. We express our condolences to his family, friends, and comrades in arms." Russian Colonel Kondrashkin was a popular commander in the Russian army. The death of the colonel saddened everyone in the Russian army. This is not the first commander Russia has lost, and it will not be the last. As long as the coordination problem in Russia's military operations is not solved, it is likely to suffer more losses. The Ukrainian 3rd Separate Assault Brigade, which continues operations in the vicinity of the Andriivka region, also made a statement about the latest operations. In the statement made through the Telegram channel, the following statements were used. In 2 days, the 3rd Assault Brigade eliminated the enemy brigade intelligence chief, 3 battalion commanders, and almost all of the infantry of the 72nd Brigade, other officers, and a significant amount of equipment. As of now, the fighting continues. Our units continue to consolidate in new positions. The recapture of Andriivka is the key to success in all directions. We are paying a high price for the results of these battles, and the blood of each of our fighters will be paid only in blood. The operations carried out by the Ukrainian army continue in full force. We think that Ukraine will completely establish control in this region and its surroundings. It seems that the intensity of Ukrainian operations in and around Bakhmut will continue to increase. Do you think the Ukrainian army will be able to completely liberate the Bakhmut region from Russian occupation? How do you evaluate the operations of the Ukrainian army? How do you think the death of Colonel Kondrashkin will affect the Russian army? Russia has lost many important commanders. Do you think this situation will continue? You can share your thoughts with us by commenting.